Hey everyone, so I actually wanted to tell you what is the Tom Sawyer and what is the Infinity Pad. So there's a couple of neat little design aspects to it that kind of ties together the theme of why they are these devices for self-creation. So I really want to tell you about that. So, well, let's start with the first journal. So I made this in Argentina in 2010. I was down there and I had this vision that I wanted to create a brand that would allow me to talk about the experience of student exchange, of youth travel, and I realized that what I was wanting to say was that there was something at the heart of this experience of going somewhere with an intention, of creating yourself, you know, thinking of it prior, and then kind of being in there and, you know, just being so present in the journey, just kind of taking you. And then afterwards you just kind of pick up the pieces, you know, and you tie them together. And it's like these journeys are like mini lives and mini invitations back into the world. Almost like a wave in the sea that just goes onto the shore crashing and it goes back, you know. And so this journal was originally created sitting on my rooftop in Buenos Aires. I just had paper that was regular paper, white paper, and I wanted to make it unique. So I had a bucket of coffee, and I would stain the paper in the coffee bucket, and then I'd lay it to dry, and basically in the hot sun, and then I would assemble the journals with like sharp objects and a pocket knife, because I didn't have any tools or any real formal knowledge of leather crafting. Anyway, so this journal was the first one I ever made. It's called the Tom Sawyer, and well, it's divided into 3 sections. This idea of the 3 sections, it's kind of like past, present, and future. Kind of like this idea that every trip has 3 parts, before, during, and after. And it's in these kind of way that, you know, our journeys kind of take place. You know, we preconceive of what we're going to do, and then we live it probably unimaginably, far beyond what we could have ever imagined. And then we get back and we ask ourselves, you know, did that even happen? You know, and sometimes you find yourself speaking another language, and that's proof that yeah, it did happen. You know, and you have these friends, you know, in other places, and these realities that continue to evolve. And you continue to evolve, and each time you go back, and it's like something new. There's something lovely to share. They have something that's happened there, and you have something that's happened where you were, and it's this beautiful dance. I love to think of it like a dance. And so on the journal here you have this thread that's kind of weaving the different chapters of the journal together, and that's called the passion thread. It's the idea of weaving all of the 3 chapters, 3 parts of the journey together with an understanding and with a knowledge, and with your heart, you know. That's why it's red thread. Everywhere we're using red thread. I don't know why, but back in the day I made a backpack by hand for about 3 years in college, and I would only sew it with red thread when it fell apart, because I like to kind of mark the spots. Actually, I think on my vest here I even have somewhere is red thread because it fell apart, so I just sewed it. Yep, I think it's right there. I like to accentuate the things that are blemishes instead of trying to hide them, because I think that that's the beauty, you know. And so in Porto you probably have spilled some wine on yourself, and that's great. So don't wash your shirt. Just say, hey, this reminds me of that time, you know, and it's great. So anyway, this is the Tom Sawyer. Everyone is numbered. This is number 2334. It's a lot of stitching. Amish people have helped, friends have helped, a couple little part-timer friend employees have helped, and I've made a lot of journals. Anyway, so that's the Tom Sawyer. Here's the Infinity Pad. So the inspiration for the Infinity Pad came through an old sea captain down on the river. in Rochester, New York, when I was working on a 100-year-old wooden boat, and I was living in this camper on the river. We had this little camp there, my dad and my godfather and this old man on his ship. And he always saw me making my journals. This is probably about 5 years ago. And he said, well, I'd buy one of those, but you've got to put some metal on it. And he's actually a machine shop owner. He took a vow to never sleep on soil again, so he just sleeps on his boat, and it's a metal boat. And so anyway, I got to thinking about it, and I was like, well, maybe I could make a journal and use some metal. So I started to think about a journal that would be really handy, that would be pocket size, and that could easily open and stay open, because a lot of times it's nice to have your hands free. And so this is the Infinity Pad. It also is numbered. This is number 1568. So it sounds kind of like a year that they discovered something in Portugal, maybe. Anyway, it is refillable. It's nice, made with a Chicago screw, which unscrews like this. And actually, it just so happens that it incorporates this ratio, the golden mean, 1 to 1.66666. So it's 1.6 times this side equals this side. And also the ratio even breaks down to how thick it is. So it's called the Infinity Pad because it has that infinity ratio. And it's also great for taking infinite notes, which translate into infinitely great small, just footprints in the sand of all those conversations, of all those side notes, of all of those great book recommendations and film ideas and trip ideas, whatever it may be, quotes you catch as your friend if they just fall out of their mouth. That's what this is for. It's for keeping up with those things that you really must write down in that moment. So and it's a friendly companion as well. So anyway, it's really hard to leave this shop. Once again, it's hard to leave this place. You make it so difficult for me, Porto. Mwah! I love you and I miss you already. And thank you for teaching me once again what it means to have saudades. See you.